before sort of 12:10, so I'm assuming this won't take very long. Maybe. You're moving it, Pauline? Seconding Ali? Yep.
Just on that, there is a new recommendation regarding the empowering the property consultant to delegate authority to enter land exchange. It's just we're thinking detention dams, there may be need to exchange land with the MOE potentially, and so we've just asked for a slight alteration in that.
So that's number 3 added, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Jan, have you got some questions?
Yeah, I do. I really support this work going ahead, but I'm just trying to compare it to the Flopton, where there was heaps of early engagement with local communities, and there were options around Dudley, and there seems to be no public consultation on this. So if we make the decision today and we engage with people, are we just telling them what's happening, or is there an opportunity for them to have influence over designs, over what the different outcomes are, particularly things like trees, for example, and other issues that we know that were raised previously through those earlier processes?
Certainly once final design is done, there will be opportunity for community input. There's been community input through the community board already identifying key issues, but that will be an ongoing process. As with
Sorry, well, let's just get clear. Going and talking to community board members in a meeting is not the same as getting the community view from local residents that are affected. And, there's no way that I can go and talk to 20,000 people that are affected by this, as an individual councillor. That's impossible as a community board member. So the fact that those people don't have any consultation concerns me, but I'm trying to find a solution going forward. So can you just help me understand at what stage, if there's concerns from local residents, how we as councillors or community board members can take those into account to inform the final design, as happened in Dudley and Flopton, which was fair enough.
One of the things you have to remember is that each project is going to be different. Dudley had lots of options to consider. There was lots of bypass routes and lots of other factors to consider. This particular scheme, because of the nature of it, has effectively limited number of infrastructure options that can be put forward that will achieve the objectives in a cost-effective manner. We've worked with our consultants to identify preferred options, and I say the options are largely around repair, which is straightforward. Remediation that really has effectively come to a single proposal, as you say, because of the nature of the land settlement. There's a need for a pump. We're looking for storage in order to take some of the pressure off the system, and so we have two sites located for that. So we are quite limited. What we would be doing and expecting is to engage with residents in the area through this process, and as we develop detail. We've worked very closely with residents as we've got to that stage at Dudley Creek, and Stapleton's Road is one that we've worked closely with Councillor Cotter to meet with residents on site to identify local impact. And I think that's a model that we would seek to continue, and that's something we've discussed and we've discussed with the community boards. So yes, there certainly will be engagement, but at this point, this is a project where it's just completed investigations. We need now to seek agreement. Is this a proposal that we take forward and do detailed work on and engage with the community?
Okay.
The second question I had was around the Ministry of Education. So I would prefer that, and it's interesting that we just had community boards coming and talking to us about land disposal, that actually I think it's really important that we don't delegate that decision away, because I think the community board or the council should retain oversight of and accountability for whatever decision.
So I'll put that separately.
Or is it possible to amend that so that there is a public process around that in terms of decision making?
Well, can you answer the is it possible question, and then I'll sort out how we take it.
Do we have property?
I think one view may be that people just want to get on and do it as well.
To keep staff agile and flexible to actually achieve delivery of the project, we really need to be able to swap land. Although we're talking with the MOE, there could be a resident who actually only wants to dispose of land, or a private owner who only wants to dispose of land by way of an exchange. So that resolution enables staff to achieve that. In terms of disposal of surplus property, if we have to report back to council, that again pushes out the dates for delivery of the project, and that's the danger. The land in question is Linwood Park, and I think council is already aware of proposals to do some sort of swap there. But that in itself is fraught with issues because the land is a reserve and got NITO first right of refusal.
So that's what concerns me, is I'm aware that there's all these issues. There was concern originally that Woolston Park would be taken over by the Ministry for...
Right, Yanni, what I'm going to do is put 4 separately. So
Well, can I propose an amendment?
yes, you can.
And I'm trying not to hold up the work that needs to be done, but that decisions around things like land swaps come back to the community board or the council. So what's the best outcome in terms of the council staff?
Well, their best outcome, as they just explained, is that they have the power to do it.
Well, okay.
So you're welcome to propose an amendment.
Okay, so I'll propose that.
So can I just
Yep.
add, the process of actually disposing of Linwood Park is subject to statutory process anyway. That requires public notification.
Okay, so Linwood Park can't be disposed of in any way, shape or form without those processes.
That's correct.
Right, okay. Is that your major, is that what's
So
underlying
is it
your
just
concern?
private property? Like, I'm happy for it just to be private property, but I don't...
Are there any other areas that have major public concern, such as Linwood Park, which obviously is exempt from that clause, that are affected?
At this stage, no.
No, right, okay, so it's largely private property.
No, the swap is only currently proposed for the MOE
Right,
land
thank you.
and Linwood Park.
Okay, so you're welcome to propose one. I'll put item 4 separately. Is there any other debate or anything? I'm
Just a point, Vicky, that the area perhaps where most people would be affected are along the Heathcote River near the outfall. That it's clear in the report that in fact there will be an engagement with that group of people. So and also though that the area along Mackworth Street, that area, that's at a later stage, and those people would be involved too. So you know, where the works are directly affecting people, it seems to me from the report that in fact people will, besides the community boards, will continue to be involved.
Okay, I plan to put all of the recommendations except 4, and then I'll see if Yanni's got his amendment, and I'll put it separately. Okay, can we go back to the actual? We don't know what the amendment is yet. Sorry, Chris. Can we go back to the substantive motion? So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3. Scrolled up a bit. 5, 6. Okay. I'm going to put that. Those are moved by Councillor Cotter and seconded by Councillor Jones. Just discussion on those.
I support the need to get on and get things done. I am worried about the cost, and I do think, again, just to repeat, we need to formally, again, resolve some sort of resolution to request government to contribute. And you go back to what happened in Flockton, go back to the comments of the Minister and the Prime Minister around waiting for Council to put through reports. We've done that. It's really clear that we've got these issues, and I think we certainly should be making it a much more formal request for funding. I think the other thing is that, you know, it's easy to say, well, we'll go and talk to local residents, but there's a number of things in here, like consents for heritage buildings, for trees, etc., that can raise a lot of concern. So I just hope that through this process, I'm happy to support it, but I hope that there's flexibility, that if those issues do arise, that we can actually come back and look at what we can do to mitigate it, rather than have what we had in other parts of the city, a huge community angst over the number of trees, for example, that mature trees, special trees that were going to be shut down. The other point I'll just make is that I think it's really, we asked at the workshop around the opportunity for enhancement, and we got some quite high figures. And I know that in our ward, for example, there's a lot of community groups that would actually, if you think of Charlesworth wetlands, that the volunteer contribution to actually enhancing that area, and the transformation that's happened was fantastic, and it's been really cost effective. So I did ask if there was a way in which we could reduce the cost of the enhancement but still do it using that community participation model. So it's not formally noted in here. We're going obviously for option 1, but I do think it is an ongoing conversation that needs to be had.
So are you wanting to put 4 in with the whole recommendations now?
No, I certainly,
right, okay.
I wasn't, well, do you want me to speak against that
No,
now?
no, I don't want, I just want to get 1, 2, 3, 5 and 6. So I'm going to put those.
Well, 5's not, yeah, just,
Sorry?
we've got different recommendations, so it's a bit tricky, but so it's 3 and I don't know what's happened to 4.
4's gone down, yeah.
Okay, so it's 5 is probably the one that is concerning as well.
Okay, so you want to take 5 out as well?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put 4 and 5 separately, okay? Right, so 1, 2, 3 and 6. I'll moved by Pauline, seconded Ali. I'll put those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried. And then 4 and 5 I'm putting separately. Is there a mover and seconder? Tim's moved and Phil seconded. Is there any amendment? In the absence of the amendment,
Yeah.
Vote against it, and then if that fails, then he can put it a foreshadowed
I
motion.
actually want this to go through.
okay, well, tell us what your amendment is.
So it is that. Sorry, I don't. Can you just scroll up? We don't have the written
Okay,
thing in
so
front of
yeah.
us. So it's basically just to change number 4, and so it's basically that any decisions to enter into land exchange agreements declaring surplus and swapping council land for privately owned land required for the Bells Creek flood remediation be a decision for the local community board to council.
Is there a seconder for that? Just,
If I can ask a question.
yep.
How much would that slow the program down? Knowing that in Wainoni it's in stage 2 because of the consultation, can the rest of the works carry on?
Depends on their decision, obviously. If they decided we couldn't, then it would stop the whole program. But you know, that would be the thing.
Right,
I think what we're trying to do is take on a community consultation process so that we can work through all the issues, and that's why we've got the community consultation process. Part of that, bringing those into, will go into final design so that we can actually take into account. There are certain, as you've already heard, restrictions on what we can do with land, how we can declare it surplus. Depends how we got it in the first place, whether we got it under the Public Works Act, whether we got it gifted, and so there are a whole pile of restrictions that will be possibly keep the process reasonably, unfortunately, slow already. But it
I think so too.
depends on what
Yep.
we're looking. So we will be looking at options that give us the ability to go ahead. But quite often the whole picture is the solution, not bits of the picture,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
I'm going to. So it's moved, Yanni, seconded Pauline. I'm going to put that amendment, which sends these decisions to the local community board to recommend to the council. Well, okay, so I'm going to put that. Those in favour, please say aye. Those opposed? No. I declare that lost. I'm going to go back to the original 4 and 5 and put those. And they are there. Moved Tim, seconded Phil. I'll put those. Those in favour, please say aye. Those opposed, carried. Have you got?
Can I please note that I voted against the amendment?
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
may. Do you want those too, Yanni?
I thought you seconded. I know, you can still vote against it.
Or do you mean the substantive? Because
The
you
amendment.
seconded the amendment.
You can vote against it if you
Yeah, so
second it.
you seconded pro forma.
I
Okay.
second it for discussion.
Okay, that's fair. Right. Do you want to do the proxy just before we finish?